Welcome back to Shoot Retro. I am Hunter, and I am back with another video. As I noted in the last video, been really busy with work. I got a job as a news cameraman, so I've been very busy getting acclimated to that job and also just learning some new skills. But I am still making time to share my work in film photography. So today, we are venturing into the unknown, the world of experimental films. And today, the star of that topic will be Lomo-Turquoise and Lomo-Redscale. Now, we're going to start off with Lomo-Redscale because I got 3 rolls, count them, 3 rolls of Lomo-Redscale off Lomoography's own website through their e-commerce store for $15, free shipping. And I also ordered my Lomo-Turquoise, so I'm pretty sure that's how I got the free shipping. But $15 for 3 rolls of 120, and it was expired by like 3 months, so that was a no-brainer. So I picked it up. I was like, I probably would have never bought this film stock otherwise, but here we are. I bought it, and I put a roll through my Pentax 6.7, and I had taken a trip back to Holy Land. You may remember that from a video where I took my Nikon N60, I believe it was this N60, to Holy Land with a roll of Ilford FP4, and shot all those vignette shots up at Holy Land. But I went back with Lomo-Redscale just to check it out, because there are some predominantly red text and decorations up there, and I thought it might look really intense. So the first shot is actually looking out over I-84 going west. If you're familiar with Waterbury, Connecticut, this is the famous Mixmaster highway system, which is an absolute disaster. It is in a constant state of disrepair, and this was the first shot I took on the roll. It's really nothing too special, but it's really ominous, so I like the atmosphere that's going on here. So moving down that roll is the shot of the big cross that is famous, what Holy Land is famous for. I am not a religious person whatsoever. However, I do think this looks pretty cool. I took a very similar shot on FP4, and I believe I like this one better. Notice towards the bottom of all these shots with the Redscale, it kind of starts off like with this bluish haze at the bottom. I'm not sure if that's underexposing on Redscale or if that is just how the film actually comes out, but I actually think in this case it's underexposing. So the shot after this, I think this is the best shot off the roll. It's the shot of these 3 crosses. These have no edits done to them whatsoever, but this just gives me like heavy metal, dark, guttural fucking album cover vibes. So, I don't know. I just think this shot came out the best. It's probably my best composition on the roll. And yeah, I think it came out pretty good. Again, I would really like how Redscale kind of did its thing here and really made this look really creepy, which is what I was hoping for. And now that I look at this, this does look underexposed a tiny bit. This blue, that must be, because it's honestly, it's not going to be an artifact of the expiration date on this film. It's not like this is a 20-year-old film stock. This is a film stock that was 3 months expired when I bought it. So yeah, I mean, I really like that photo. Yeah, so this shot right here, less so than how it looked in person, but in person, like this box that's like draped over this wrought iron fence display thing kind of looked like the shape of like a horse, and I was like, that's interesting. But again, what I really like about what's going on in this picture, even though it's not the best composition, I love how the depth of field is clearly on display here. This is on the 105. And you could just see how there's like slices of the image all throughout. And I think that does help it here. If I could do this shot over again, I would. I would probably move myself a little bit more to the right. But it is kind of cool seeing everything completely overgrown and just like decrepit and destroyed. So I did that roll of Lomo-Redscale, and I mean, it really has to be the right circumstances to use it. I mean, that was a very overcast day. Really, this was like, when else would I be using Lomo-Redscale? And when I have a situation that's really atmospheric like that, you know, definitely want to break it out. Now, moving on, we're going to be talking about Lomo-Turquoise, which was a film stock I've been eager to try out ever since I saw Jason from Grainy Days put out a video on it. I absolutely loved the color science in that film stock. I like its unpredictability, and I thought, what a great opportunity to get experimental with my shots. So how the hell am I going to do that? At first I was thinking, well, you know, I could do some basic portraiture stuff, you know, grab my friends, rally the troops, get them in front of the camera and just figure something out. But then I was at Savers and I picked up these prism filters that essentially kaleidoscope your image, and I have two of them. It either puts it into like 3 parts or 5. And I initially went through this roll thinking, oh yeah, those are going to be my best shots. Those are going to be really interesting. You know, we're going to do something weird. But actually, whether or not this is disappointing or not, my favorite shots are the ones that don't have that effect at all. And I will be getting into those right now. I'll show you some shots that have the tri filter on the lens. So this shot here, this gives me like Stalker vibes, like Stalker, Chernobyl, radioactive, overgrown vibes. To get a good idea as to what the frame actually looked like through the viewfinder, just picture the left half of this image. And it's what happened was it's just been multiplied like 3 times in the circle and all like melded together right in the middle. So I really like, even though it's a little bit out of focus, how this came out. Even in the foreground, like these bushes, like these like this bramble, like it has like this like radioactive X-ray vibes to it, and I'm really all about it. Moving on, we just have another, now it's basically the same image in the vertical here. This one had some more ghosting effect going on in it. So we have like the orange sky, the really blue foreground and ground, but like right in the middle ground, there's a lot of fun going on. There's almost like a Z pattern in the image. It just happened to be the way I rotated that filter on the front of the lens that really created some cool effects. And like the longer I look at it, the more I see like this like cross hatching like of like these X's and the poles, all of it's just multiplied throughout the center of the image, and it like seamlessly blends together and has created this really cool effect. Even in the top left corner, we have like these like artifacts of power lines, and I don't know, I think it looks really good. This is more of a shot of just what this area looked like without any sort of filter on it. There's shot number 1 and shot number 2, which I actually prefer the composition on this a lot better. I like how we have the little waterway down here. In the previous image, there's a little bit more going on in the background with like these houses and whatnot. And I mean, I just wasn't too crazy about that. But I do like how this, when it goes vertical here, and like the portrait orientation, we just see there's more depth to the image and there's just more going on. This is just a shot of traffic. Just these cars were driving by, a lot of minivans for whatever reason, and I thought this is kind of funny, so I just turned and took a quick image, quick little snap of what I was looking at. This photo right here is by far the best photo on the roll. This was the corner of a building that had a really cool light on it. It was giving me like that Pixar vibe, like with the Pixar light that, you know, does the hopping in the intros to the movies or whatever. It's just kind of cool. But what I love about this image is the way the lighting worked out. I remember when I was metering for this, I wasn't too sure how I was going to go about doing it, because the sky was pretty overcast. Like there was no variation in like the color at all. That's why it's such a clean orange at the top here. There was just not a lot of contrast going on up there. And then the way the sun was positioned in the sky, it was about 3 o'clock ish. You know, in New England right now, that's essentially the start of golden hour, at least when I took this photo. So in one side of this brick facade on the building, you have this intense sunlight, and on the other side you have the shadow, and it's very sharp lines going up and down in this image. But the most fascinating part about this image to me is actually what happened with the signs on the right. you see the brick is all in shadow, but these signs are very well illuminated. I mean, that's sheer luck. That was not a, I was expecting these to be in shadow when I took the picture. But the way they pop is actually really cool. And this is completely without edits done to the image. So I'm stoked on how this one came out. I tried the same image with the same composition, but like I would adjust and use the filter. And honestly, when I took these, I thought they were going to be better than the one without the filter. I actually just like the no filter one better. On this one, I do have the Penta filter, which it does kind of have this cool like radial effect in the middle, where you have like this like focused image on like this light, and then like as you get farther away from that light, it kind of just fades away. Kind of a cool effect. I don't know. I kind of prefer the other one better. This is a gas pump. I had the filter on it. I was filling up my car with gas, and damn, I paid $2.75 that day. That's actually really good. But it looks really cool. It was really colorful in person, so I was like, I wonder how Lomo-Turquoise would render this. And to be honest, this is pretty, all things considered, this is pretty accurate to what the pump looked like. It was the red, white, and blue, and it seems to have retained a lot of that. This picture of a picnic bench and a tree is pretty fun. This was right at sunset, down at a like a park near me, and I just thought it was really good lighting, so I snapped a few photos here. I particularly like this image of the tree and of the picnic bench, primarily because it looks like I'm using an additional light source on this tree. Like it pops, but I'm not. This was just me holding my camera up and shooting this one scene. I love how like the ground here, it was like this crabgrass. It really wasn't that nice. But in this image, it looks like lunar, like it doesn't look of this earth, which is really cool and kind of what I wanted out of this roll. I wanted something very abstract. This is just another view of that picnic bench. It's a bit out of focus, as it was in the other image too. So I missed focus a little bit here. You guys ever read the book Ashfall? It's a book about what would happen if Yellowstone, the volcano, erupted. And it's a fictional story, and it takes this kid through basically his trip through being in the center of like this blast radius and escaping to the outside world, and there's all these adventures along the way, meets people, friends, whatever. I kind of get that vibe here, like throughout all these pictures. It just reminds me of like some sort of like apocalyptic scene, in like one of our national parks. This is a more backed off wide shot. I had put on the 28mm lens I got from my Nikon F2 here, and I actually think either this one or that first image I showed are my favorite of this particular area. I just think they had the most thought put into their composition. This shot here of the trees is really creepy. This is almost like album cover vibes. And when I see this picture, I kind of, especially with like the sky illuminated the way it is in the back, and just like how tall these trees are, I don't know why, but my brain goes to War of the Worlds, which, funny enough, is just like when I was a kid, I watched that movie at the wrong time. I was like 7 or 8 years old, talking to Tom Cruise one, and man, those Martian tripods, like when the horn goes off, that was one of the scariest things that ever happened to me at that point in my life, and it scared me so bad I threw up. Like I had to run to the bathroom and vomit. I was so scared. But these trees kind of just like remind me of like the scene where the tripods come over the hill and everybody's at that ferry and they're trying to get out, and it's so much tension and they're in this bottleneck, and it is crazy. But just like the way the sky is cast, it almost looks like everything else is on fire and has been laser beamed to death, kind of like in those movies. That may be a bit of a stretch, but that's at least where my mind goes where I see this image. Is there anything else off this roll that's worth noting? I did shoot some portraits. We'll just do like a quick little montage of those. Those are some of the rolls I've been shooting lately. I'd say total time span, these were about 2 months worth of shooting for me. Because like I said before, I currently work as a news cameraman and it's been extremely busy. I've been having an awesome time. And I think I just want to spend the next 2 minutes or so talking about what that's been like, and share a little bit more details with you guys. It's been phenomenal. It is so fun. Like every day, just to give you an idea of like what a day-to-day looks like in that position. My responsibilities are traveling with reporters to news, covering breaking news when it happens, like God forbid there's like a shooting or a fire or anything like that. Like we get sent out to those immediately. And like cutting packages with the reporters, you know, creating content that would then go into the newscast. Initially, I was working a third shift, which meant I was going into work at 2:30 in the morning, working till 11. So I did that for about 2 months, and luckily, this new shift I'm on opened up for this whole next year. So I'm locked into this new schedule for second shift. So I basically work the afternoons from like 3 to midnight, essentially. So for me, that works out so much better. I do miss out on golden hour, but for like my day-to-day schedule and like structuring my social life around work, it works out so much better, and I have my weekends off. So I think weekends are going to be the times where I get to shoot these videos, go out and shoot photos, and keep making content for this channel as I promised I would do. And I really don't have much else to say about like my current job or anything like that. I just think it's really cool and a very fun thing. So if you guys want to hear or see, or I don't know, I really don't know the limits to like what I can show like when I'm working. It's not like there's anything secretive or anything. I just don't want to like, you know, overstep. But I would like to do, I think one day I would like to do some sort of like vlog video showing what it's like to do my job, because I think it's really cool, and it's hard to tell people, like, unless they experience it, like how hectic a day can be in news, and how different each day can be in news. You can have one day where, and this is a true story, I spent the morning at a murder. Somebody had been murdered overnight, and we jetted out to this town. We're getting interviews with neighbors, seeing if they knew the person who was killed, you know, trying to understand, paint a better picture of who this person was, so, you know, we can, you know, immortalize them in some way. And then I ended the day at like a Girl Scout event. So it's like, there's a huge spectrum for the type of things that you can go and cover, and I just think it's pretty cool. So if you guys want to see more of that stuff, let me know. I'll see what I can do, and see if that's something I'd be able to show you guys. But anyway, thanks for tuning into this Shoot Retro video. If you haven't already, go check out the website. It's www.shootretro.com. It's a website I built that shows off my whole portfolio and is a space for film. So that being said, give a like on this video, comment down below, and reply to anything I just said before. And I hope you have a fantastic day.